Hello everyone, Andrew here, and welcome to today's video all about the PlayChoice 10 arcade machine, Nintendo's official way to play NES games with coins in the arcade, produced between 1986 and 1982. And there was a total of 52 different games that you could find on these machines, and the reason it was called the PlayChoice 10 is because there's actually 10 different NES games loaded into it right now, and by putting in a quarter you get time up at the top, and in that allotted time that will keep increasing for as long as you keep inserting quarters, you can play as many of the different games as you wish, again until time runs out. In this case right here we have Super Mario Bros. 3 and 9 other games loaded into the PlayChoice 10, so I thought it'd be fun to just go through it and play some of them. I have talked about this before, but that was actually 7.5 years ago, so if you've been following me since back then when I actually uploaded that video, thank you very much for your support, and hope you enjoy another look at this really cool machine. It's also RGB video, so it looks really nice, just like if you're playing it on one of the Sharp NES TVs. It's one of the coolest and crispest NES pictures you will get, and just again looks absolutely awesome. The games though are not your typical NES cartridges. The reason that there were 52 games released for it, and not just the entire NES library, is because there were actually special circuit boards made which you would have to insert into the machine, and each one of these obviously has a different game on it. For smaller games, such as this one right here is Golf, it has a smaller circuit board. Understandable, since Golf was one of the original NES releases. The black box games typically weren't anything too complicated, but then you get other ones like this one right here, which is Double Dribble, a little bit more of an advanced NES game, and it had to be on one of the larger circuit boards. This is what you're looking at putting into your PlayChoice 10 in order to get the different games, and I have 10 different ones of those inside my arcade machine right now. There is also an adapter these days that you can buy, so you can pretty much put any NES game that you wish into the PlayChoice 10, but I think that the ones that are available are pretty good, and again, being produced until 1992, there's some good variety on there. There's even like Mega Man 3. Here's the list right here of my different ones: Super Mario Bros., Mario 3, Contra, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Ninja Gaiden, and all the other ones that we'll look at once we get in there, including Rad Racer 2 and such. So what we do when we want to play the PlayChoice 10 is, once again, we get our bag of quarters here. You can set it to different things like being free play mode and such, but if you want that real arcade experience, obviously you have to keep it in the mode where you put the coins in yourself. So we're gonna insert 25 cents, and you gotta give it some force there. That one didn't count. There you go. So you gotta really get it in there. You want to be gentle with it, but you also don't want to be too harsh. And then it starts counting down. If we insert another quarter immediately, we go from 300 all the way up to 750 seconds. And it's not technically seconds. It decreases a little bit faster than a second, so it's kind of like, Mario time units. How, it's not actually a second. You don't actually start a level with 400 seconds, even if it says you have 400 time. And here's the list of games that we get. So we can select through the different games by pressing the channel select button on the front here. And again, Mario, Mario 3, Contra, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Ninja Gaiden 2, Double Dragon, Gauntlet, Rad Racer 2, Excite Bike, and RC Pro-Am. And the time's starting to count down because I'm taking way too long here. But again, so we can choose any of these. So we're going to go into Mario first. Press the enter button there. Brings you to your typical Super Mario Bros. Starting screen. And you could even play 2 players if you want, because there are 2 sets of controls here. And you can hear the game. And it plays, of course, just like you would expect the NES version of Super Mario Bros. 2. It's pretty loud, so you're gonna have to make sure I talk over this. One thing I like to do is I like to try and beat each world of Super Mario Bros. With 1 quarter. It's kind of like, a very retro-styled speedrun, I suppose. One thing you can also do while inside of a game is press the enter button over here, and it will bring up the rules and instructions and even some background information for the game that you are currently playing. In this case, Super Mario Bros. Once upon a time, the turtles invaded the Mushroom Kingdom. Mario's quest to free the princess has only just begun. And it would continue for years and years and years after that. She kept getting kidnapped. And you can press enter again. And it even brings you to another screen, as you can maybe see up there. Hopefully the screen's appearing well enough. Screen 2 out of 2, it explains, small Mario gets a mushroom, turns to big Mario, gets a flower, turns to fiery Mario, and I just think that it's so neat. These are explanation screens that you really only see if you're playing the PlayChoice version. It's probably pretty much the same information as in the instruction manuals from back in the day, But, you know, just seeing it on screen here is very cool. This is the tabletop version of the PlayChoice 10, I should also mention. As you can see, it's currently sitting on a table, and there's not really much design or anything on the side. Like, from the front you can see that there's a name here, but otherwise it's just a pretty plain gray box with a television screen in it. But there is also one that's more like a stand-up arcade cabinet, which is very neat. And in that one, there's actually a second screen that displays this information so that you don't have to press a separate button to get to it. And yeah, again, that... The stand-up arcade versions are very cool, but I like the sit-down version too. Like, I'm having a nice comfy time here playing some NES arcade, but we can hold the enter button for 2 seconds to get out of that screen, and that will bring us back to here. And as you can see, that time hasn't stopped counting down on the top. And wow, taking damage in the first level of Mario 1. You're going to revoke my NES license. But yeah, so I'm just going to do a quick run through here. There, I got 5,000 points. That makes up for it. So once you're done playing the game that you're currently playing, you can press the reset button, and it will take you back to the game select menu. And from here, you can then, as long as you still have time on the counter, select any of the games that you wish. So let's move on to Super Mario Bros. 3. And there you go, just like that. So unfortunately, it's not like it saves your progress in the other game. If I went back to Mario 1 now, I would have to once again start from the beginning. But otherwise, yeah, you can just have a field day. Keep putting in quarters, playing for as long as you want. It's definitely different, though, than other arcade systems, because if you were really good at a game, you could, say, put, you know, like, a couple quarters in and maybe beat the whole thing. But here, because of the time system, no matter how good you are at Mario 3, I guess you could use the whistles and such, but if you want to play through the whole thing legitimately, you're going to be forking over a lot of quarters regardless of your skill level. Another cool thing about Super Mario Bros. 3 on the PlayChoice 10 is that it was actually available to play in PlayChoice arcade machines before it was released on an NES cartridge. You could find Mario 3 on the PlayChoice 10 in July of 1989. Well, it didn't get released on cartridge until February of 1990. So that's like a whole half a year that if you had this in an arcade, you could enjoy it before anyone got their hands on it for home play. Of course, in Japan, it was released in, 1988. So if you had the Japanese copy, as sometimes people did get their hands on those, I mean, you could play it way before anyone else. But without further ado, let's actually just play some darn Mario Bros. 3. Running out of time here. And once again, it's just your very typical Super Mario Bros. 3. No differences in the game or anything like that to accommodate for the arcade. It's just, there you go. Because there was also the Versus series of Nintendo arcade games. Like there was Versus Super Mario Brothers, and those ones did include differences. The levels were a little bit different. The Versus Mario Brothers even includes some levels from the Lost Levels. So, just overall, I didn't even get running speed. I'm not doing my best speed run today, everybody. But there we go. And we could go on the pipe here, but I think we're not going to spend all day playing these games. I just think it's so neat to think that back in the day, you could have gone to, an arcade or even just a random place. That's the cool thing with the tabletop version, is that obviously since it's not, a giant arcade machine, it could have been placed literally anywhere. So press the reset button again. Brings us back to this menu and get symbols there explaining it can be played by multiple different players. But the tabletop version could be placed on a bar top or just on a counter in a random store. It didn't have to take up all this space. So that's definitely the neat part of the tabletop version. But anyway, without further ado, let us move on down to Contra. And can we enter the Contra code? Let's do it. Let's give it an up, up, down, down, left, right, beat A, start. And just like that, we got 30 lives. Never forget your Contra code. I'm not one to use cheat codes when playing the game, but beating the entirety of Contra with 3 lives, it's kind of a nuisance. It's not something I bet too many people have probably done. There. But again, everything just looks so nice. It sounds great. And again, there's all those different games that you can get for it from all different genres. They're not all first party. There's third party ones as well. And just overall, the PlayChoice is just such a cool machine. And you want that S, you want the spreader, but I fell into the drink, so we ain't gonna be getting that. But there's, there's other ones too. We can get fire. And that's why you use the Contra code. So let's go back to the menu. I should also mention that the control sticks are just these little stick things. Again, it will take some getting used to for anyone who's played NES games with a controller their whole life. It's strange all of a sudden playing it with these controls, with this little control stick here, which seems really odd at first, but once you get used to it, it's actually, quite comfortable to play with, and just your typical B and A buttons. But as you can see, we're running out of time here. So if at any time, you don't have to wait until it runs out, you can put another quarter in, and you get another 300 seconds worth of time. This time we'll wait for it to run out completely, and I'll show you all what happens when that occurs. But let's move on to Tyson's Punch-Out! And the cool part about this is that it also saves, well, not necessarily saves, but because we actually get to enter our name when we start the game, and I press the enter button, always getting the enter mixed up with the start button, because that's it. These two buttons over here are the channel select button and the enter button, and those are just used when you're navigating the menu or when you want to bring up the instructions. But here, the game select button and the start button are the ones that you actually use in game. So the cool part about the PlayChoice version, again, is that it's going to ask us to actually enter our name here, so that if we can beat any of the fighters with a really good time, it will keep track of those, although unfortunately they won't be saved once it's unplugged. But if you were at an arcade or something where maybe they left it plugged in for, you know, months or such on end, your score would be there for other people who came and played it. So my name today is going to be, I might as well take an extra 2 seconds and put my real name in there. But and is my real name. The following letters completely false. And of course, let's beat up Glass Joe. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out was just featured in my list of top 10 summer NES games. If you haven't seen that one, absolutely fantastic game, cannot recommend it enough. Now, let's get absolutely beaten because playing it with the PlayChoice controls. Let's do this thing. Waiting for him to come in at me. But, okay, there we go. If you want to get the stars, you can beat him faster, but I usually just like, taking him down. And of course you have the hearts too, which if you run out of, oh, there we go. He had no health left, so that was probably a complete waste, but still, it's just fun. Once you get those stars, you just do a gigantic uppercut. It's so satisfying knocking out the various boxers. Punch-Out is so great. The library of games I have on here is definitely different than I had the last time I made this video, 7 years ago. Punch-Out, Contra, and I got hit by Glass Joe, whoa! And Mario 3 are all new additions. There we go. And of course, you gotta love Mario being the referee. No, stay down there. Alright, let's give it to him this time. There we go. That should be enough. Let's see, who will win? There we go, technical knockout, yeah. Fortunately, probably not enough for a record, but still not too bad. Hey, we got 10th place. So this is, again, something that's not in the NES version, actually having a ranking here. And there you go, Andrew, 2 minutes and 51 seconds. We got 10th for Glass Joe. And just like that, let's reset here and move on down to the next game, Ninja Gaiden 2. Ninja Gaiden, as anyone who's watched The Wizard. We're about to run out of time. You can even get the the flashing 0 there. And again, I'm going to let that run out so that we can actually see what happens when we are all out of time. How far can we get in 20 fake seconds? There we go. Alright, so run out of time. And it just brings up a sorry the time is up screen. Now this is really freaky because say, you're deep into a game, your sweaty hands, you gotta get your quarter out, and the time's counting down, and if that counts down, you're done. The game just boots you back to the menu, and that's it. But we got the time in there, and then we can then once again press enter to just rejoin, or the time run out. But yeah, if you let that time run out, you're just absolutely done. And it's not any fun at all, losing all that progress. And it's hard, it's nerve-wracking, especially when you're in the middle of a game. And you gotta try and get that money out. But what we're gonna do now is, what other games should we check out? We got Double Dragon, Gauntlet, Rad Racer 2, Excite Bike. Let's finish off with some Excite Bike. The classic Excite Bike music. And So once again, you can press the enter button. I haven't really been showing these off, but it explains the different things. This is great because you can't lose the manual when just pressing a button brings up the instructions. It's almost like more modern games, not the Switch, because I don't think the Switch even has digital manuals, but the 3DS or the Wii U having a digital manual. That's definitely what this system reminds me of. And you can even design a track, but it's not gonna save. What should we do? Track 3. Can we beat track 3 before we run out of time? 200 PlayChoice seconds. Alright, let's do this thing. Excite like a classic game. I remember the last time I played it, it was actually the 3D version. You don't want to do that. Alright. It's time to go fast here. And not do that, not do that. You don't want your temperature to get too high. Of course, pressing B makes you go faster, but you gotta watch that temperature. And you really want to have that extra speed as when you go off the ramps. But gotta make sure you don't flip forward. But yeah, the 3D version on the 3DS was actually really cool. I really like that. It's too bad they didn't do that with more games. I think they even did it with like Kid Icarus and stuff, which was pretty cool. Hopefully it's not too loud. There we go, come on, let's do this. Now that we've gotten warmed up, let's have a much better second lap here. Of course, when you go over those arrows, it doesn't really make you go faster, it just kind of sends your temperature down, which then allows you to go faster because you can hold the B button again without worrying about overheating. Excite Bike, though, definitely a series that hasn't seen much attention in recent years. I had, like, a Nintendo 64 entry, and like, that was it. You haven't really heard much about Excite Bike since. Okay, so, let's see. Can we beat it? We're running out of time, and I switch back to the A button just as time is running out. There's the finish! Okay. So close. There you go. We got third place. Third place for track 3. Not too bad. And the best time. So there you go, that is the PlayChoice 10. I just thought it'd be fun to play this thing again, introduce it to people who maybe hadn't heard about it before. Arcades are unfortunately a dying breed, but being able to just experience that arcade feel is something that the PlayChoice 10 really allows you to do. And if you ever, just come across maybe an old arcade or something like that, I highly recommend checking this machine out, whether it's the tabletop version or the full cabinet version, if you ever have the opportunity to. So I hope you enjoyed that. Sorry the time is up, and it just boots you back to the PlayChoice 10 main screen where it goes over all the different buttons and things. So thank you all so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions about it, please don't be afraid to let me know. Again, it's just such a neat thing, a cool part of Nintendo history. It's funny to think that, back in the day they had the home console, they had the arcades. Nintendo was the dominant company, and it's a shame that I look back really fondly about Nintendo in their glory days, and they definitely are doing very well with the Switch, but, back when Nintendo and video game were synonymous. Those were good times, I think. So, please, if you have any comments of your own about the PlayChoice 10, don't be afraid to post them down below, and hope to see you next time when we talk about something different. So, thanks, and see you later. Thank you so much once again for checking out my videos. I really appreciate it, and if you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, as it really helps my channel out. With that said, hope to see you next time.